So the idea of the panel today is it's more of a debate format, and we want to keep it fun and very interactive. So we have three amazing investors on my right, three amazing investors on my left. We'll open with 2 minutes to each investor. The topic is, are there enough angel investors in India? So quickly, can we have a show of hands? How many people believe are there enough angel investors in India? Come on, everyone, please. Guys on the side. The others don't believe. Are there not enough angel investors in India? No. So the unanimous voting right now is there are not enough angel investors in India. So people on my right are in favor. They are saying there are enough angel investors in India. And Sanjay sir, Sanjay Nath sir, and Anirudh says they are not. So should we start with the opening statement from Anuj?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Vaibhav.
So first and foremost, a small correction.
Sure.
We are investors.
Yeah.
They are platforms.
Okay. They are funds and they are platforms. Fair enough.
Okay. So, hello everyone. I am Anuj Golecha. I am a co-founder of Venture Catalyst. We are early stage investors. So, in last 4 years, we've invested in around 93 companies. And that has happened through our ecosystem of around 4,000 angel investors, come corporate investors, family offices, a few funds who have been investing with us. And this entire network is spread across 22 cities in India today. We are also present in 4 international regions, Middle East, UK, Singapore and Hong Kong. And what we are trying to do is there are a lot of people who want to invest in this asset class, but don't know how to invest in this asset class. So we have, right, just from having a handful of 30, 35 investors in our first pitch day to 4,000 ecosystem investors is what we have been able to build. So my view is yes, there are a lot of angel investors in India. Some of them have already started coming in the ecosystem. A lot of them will come in the ecosystem in due course. Yeah, thank you.
So 4,000 plus angel investors on your platform, if I can use that number, right?
Yes.
Sure. Shanti?
So just thank you, Vaibhav. So just to give a quick introduction, I'm the founder of Let's Venture. We are also a marketplace. We have about 6,500 investors from 55 countries on the platform. We've helped about 197 companies raise 100 million on the platform, which is an angel. And 64 of our companies have gone on to raise follow-on rounds of 150 million. And I believe, very strongly that there are enough angel investors, just that they don't know how to invest, right? And I think the definition of not having enough angel investors is because we think angel investing is a privilege. You have to have privileged access, and that is exactly what we are trying to disintermediate, where we are saying that, anybody who has the corpus and anybody who has a little bit of understanding of the asset class should be allowed to invest. Of course, angel investors can be put into 3 different categories. One is a lead investor who will lead the round. One is a validator who will help you validate the startup. And third is the follower. And, I think what my other side of the panel is talking about is the lead investor and the validator. They don't consider the followers as investors, right? And we have seen it on our platform. A lot of people who start as followers eventually go on to become validators and lead investors. So you have to allow access to the asset class. Of course, you have to allow it in a curated manner such that you don't allow people who don't have enough net worth or enough understanding of the asset class to invest into the startups.
Fair point. I think it's a very good point. We'll come back to that in a while. Alpesh?
Thank you. Well, I represent, since you're talking numbers, I represent the 4th largest economy in the world. I'm here on behalf of the UK government. And I run a private equity fund and a hedge fund, and the government said to me 15 years ago, we want you to, instead of just making money for yourself and your investors, we want you to find the most outstanding technology companies from around the world and help them go global from the United Kingdom. continue their bases wherever there might be. And when they launched this program called the Global Entrepreneur Program as part of our Department for International Trade, they started with me. I was the first, well, I'll tell you what my title is, and you won't necessarily believe it, but I've got a card to prove it. My title is Deal Maker, and it's on a government card, so it's official. Now, you might have heard a certain other government official called Donald Trump talk about how he's a deal maker in the news over the last 48 hours. I was the original one, okay? I'm the British, thank you, yeah, and an Indian was the first one. Let it be known.
Are you running for the Senate?
I'll tell you what I will say. Well, I'm not sure if I should say this. I'm the British government's Donald Trump in one sense. But let me explain to you what
You'll be quoted tomorrow in media.
I'll be sacked tomorrow. What that means is I'm looking for the most outstanding talent, and the UK government decided, where should we start this program? Where are we going to get the most talented entrepreneurs? And you heard it earlier on. We want something which is in your blood. It's in your genes, and it's that DNA, that entrepreneurial DNA. And as an entrepreneur myself, as a business person myself, we want to be able to help do those deals with the angels. And if there aren't enough in India, we've certainly got enough in the UK. Our angel market is twice as large as the nearest European country. So we've certainly got enough out there to help you.
We already agreed. We are not pitching for UK here. We are trying to bring money in India. So yeah, getting on to Anirudh.
Hi, Anirudh Damani. I'm an entrepreneur turned angel investor turned VC. What's interesting is all three guys to your left are products of the angel networks, right? So all of us know each other from either IAN or MA days. So to the point whether there are enough angel investors in India, yes. If you look at Shanti's categorization, a lot of followers, very little validators, definitely not enough leads. So as a quantity, we may have 4,000, 10,000, something.
You can go on a rebuttal later. You go on your...
So
No, but what I'm trying to say is that there are you need to define the quality of an angel. And if I look at that quality of the angel, there aren't enough in India, right? A lot of the angels that are writing checks today are writing checks between, I've seen checks as small as 25,000 rupees on a cap table. That's called equity crowdfunding. And then that person is on LinkedIn and has changed his title into an angel investor, right? And then
What about
right?
cryptocurrency
It's like the same guy who bought a $10 worth of Bitcoin and said he's a crypto trader, right? So I think we need to understand, because most of the guys are founders here, we need to understand that not every check is a good check. A lot of the times, a lot of funds, especially like us, when we see too many people on a cap table that have written small checks, it makes us jittery. We want to get those people off the cap table, which creates a problem in itself.
I'll let you come back to that.
So-
I just want to quickly end the intro so we can get into the
And that's what I did. Right? So you have to define, do we have enough quantity of quality angels?
Sure.
Or do we just have enough quantity of angels, right?
And we can
that's-
debate on is quantity needed to
I don't
reach
think
the
there's
quality.
enough, right? There's
Sure.
not enough quality.
Sure, Sanjay sir.
So I started my journey yesterday. I got honored as an angel investor. Now I'm talking about there are not enough angel investors. But my take on this is, within Indian context, if I were to look into it, we need lots and lots of angels. There's enough and more, opportunity available with so many founders, so many entrepreneurs. Today, when we started 100x, in our class 1, and these are real numbers and stats which I'm sharing across, we got 1982 startup applications across India in 3 months since our launch. And as usual, VC is a 1% business. We ended up investing in 20 startups. Now, if there were enough angels, if there was large enough, individual investors or private investor network, we wouldn't have got so many deals.
Fair point.
And we are first check writer. The second point as a statement which I want to make is all the angel networks use across a shareholder agreement, which is like a very tight binding agreement on founders where they take away all the rights and giving it to small investors. Now that's very tough to deal for a VC. And that's why at 100x we introduced something which is called iSafe, India's Simple Agreement for Future Equity, which is a 6-page document, open source. You can go to 100x.vc website and download it, free, no legal cost. That document gives no right to investors. When I'm investing as a VC, I don't take any rights, no board seats, no voting rights. It's a very founder-friendly document, and that is where the angel investor ecosystem is missing out on simplicity. That's my opening statement.
Sanjay.
Thanks, Vaibhav. I'll be brief because my two co-panelists on this side have already eloquently started the case from our side. This is special. You know, I'm a Bombay boy, so it's good to be here. And interestingly and ironically, Vaibhav, you know, many of us actually started as angels, right? So it's, in a sense, it's a irony, it's a paradox. And there's so many cases where angels have moved up and started their own funds. And I think it's important for the audience also to understand that the ecosystem has changed, right? There's shifts in the ecosystem. At one point, what was an angel market in one sense has become more like a, let's say, like a micro VC or a VC market in that sense. I just wanted to also say, you know, for those of you, if you're running late on time after the panel, grab Mr. Patel here because he's got pounds, not rupees, and you've also got a buddy pass for you back to London, right? For the one lucky entrepreneur who wants to travel.
One
So,
lucky winner will choose. Yeah.
you
One
can
lucky
choose.
winner gets a free passport. No,
No.
that's not true.
So I think that's great to kick off the debate. You've
Sure.
laid it out well.
So I think Shanti made a very good point, lead, validation, and followers, right? So if you look at that categorically, she's right. There are too many followers, but not too many validators and lead. But any of you guys, would you agree, in order for our ecosystem to thrive, we need first so many followers who will graduate to validators and lead with time. And if that's the case, then there are too many angel investors, which is a good thing also.
So, Vaibhav, I'll just kind of intervene in
Sure.
between. I want to share a quick story. I shared it with Shanti earlier. I wanted to do angel investments. I'm a chartered accountant, come from a lot of family businesses which are traditional in nature. So one of my friends, Rahul Agarwal, he introduced me to a network that you can start doing angel investments. Went to the network, liked the idea, applied for membership, got rejected. Curiosity increased. Went to another network, applied for membership, got rejected as a member investor because I didn't have two existing investor member references. Curiosity increased, and that's when I realized that so many people like me, it's not how much check I'm going to put, it's about I am sitting in Mumbai and I have so many opportunities in place and I'm not allowed to become an angel investor in a network, and that's where the Venture Catalyst story started. Today, 4 years, and in fact, Anirudh was the one who introduced me to the first network where I could actually start angel investing. So he was the first angel investor I met. So the story is that, like Shanti really mentioned, that there will be a lot of people who will be followers, who will understand as a herd mentality, and then get into the
Right.
other side
So,
of
it's a great
doing a lot of
anecdote.
things.
It's a great anecdote about your personal story. Let's get into numbers. This is a debate. So let's get into stats.
That's why I
How many-
mentioned
how
now
many
I have been
angel-
able to build an ecosystem of 4,000 investors.
How many
just
angel? That's your individual. We
Yeah.
are talking about how many angel investors are in India. Let's take a stats. How many angel investors in India would have 20 plus portfolio companies? There would be not more than 100.
Exactly.
They have to start with the first.
No,
Exactly
that's why
100.
there are
No,
not
no,
enough
no,
no.
investors who are doing deals. It's a
No, no.
tourist space. People come and go.
No, so here, actually my point,
Sure.
just a very important point. I think when people talk about angel investors, I think the first thing I have heard from every VC, every fund, right, is that I do not want to work with angel investors because there are too many investors on the cap table. I think today, SEBI has launched an angel AIF, Let's Venture has an angel AIF, and every investor, whether he writes, I mean, we don't allow people to write 25,000 rupees, but our minimum check sizes are 2.5 lakhs, right? But even if you have 30 investors, they all go as one single entity on the cap table.
I totally agree, but Shanti, just,
Right?
just,
But then coming back to that, if you don't allow people access to the asset class, so coming back to what Anuj is saying, though it's a personal anecdote, the motivation for me to create Let's Venture was exactly this. That angel investing was a big boys club. It cannot be a big boys
much
club.
ring
Shanti, I totally agree. I want Sanjay to bring in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, just in half jest, you also have a few double agents who are playing both sides amongst us. So we're on both sides in one sense, both sides of the coin. No, I think it's interesting. I'll just share this. One of the first people that Karthik and I spoke to was Ashish Gupta of Helion, very well known. I remember at that time in 2011, there was just Sasha, there was us, there was Mumbai Angels, IN, there were no networks. I remember him saying, there's a reason nobody's doing angel networks because money is a coward, right? It flows to the path of least resistance in one sense. And he says, maybe there's a reason that's not happening. Now, if you think of our business, what we do and all of us do is it's like a two-sided marketplace, right? You can't ignore quality on both sides. You're talking about good. It's not about any company coming to you. It's the best entrepreneurs that are coming to you and the best angels from the other side. So on both sides are asking that what value are adding, right? The founders are saying, okay, this angel VC, what value is adding? And you always want to think, if you have a platform or if you're a VC, it's not, are you getting entrepreneurs? Are you getting the best entrepreneurs? That's the only thing that matters. Ashish is sitting here. Of course, he and Harsh were very, very democratic and extremely modest. But there's a reason why just the two of them are sitting here out of 1,000 people. So the fact is that you have to always improve that quality on both sides. It is a two-sided marketplace. And I think we're bringing in the aspect of quality. It's not that are there enough angels, but are they doing enough?
And,
right?
and also just before Sanjay sir comes in.
So the statement here, the opening statement, Vaibhav, what you made as a motion which you want to pass, are there enough angel investors in India?
Yeah.
And, from a perspective of number of investments happening across
Sure.
through angels is hardly anything.
Exactly.
Right? And that is why you are seeing across Sequoia opening Surge,
Coming
Kalari
in early
opening
stage.
K-Start. Everybody has their own, VC firms are opening their own
Early stage incubations.
Early stage incubation because angels are not giving deals. They are not curating right
Or
deals.
will you agree that VCs, especially tier 1 VCs, are not very interested to take the deals, even if the product is good, if there are 100 people on the cap table with 10 lakh rupees
That
check
is
size.
not that is not the case.
Let's add two elements to this. First of all, what is an angel investor? Is his role only to put in money? At least if you ask this side of the table, it's not about
not
just the
at
money,
all.
right?
But what
So
about
if you say-
tier 2 cities? For them, that's the angel
No,
investor.
but then that's when they have to come through an AIF route. Because according to me, an angel investor it has a value add-on besides the money. That's why you raise passive capital.
AIF route,
You're
Shanti, is
giving a
Vaibhav,
piece
Vaibhav,
of your
let's-
history.
you don't do the rebuttal. Let them do the rebuttal, right? So you are getting on that side. So Vaibhav, the idea here is, so the way it is, if somebody wants to do a passive money, might as well invest in Sanjay's fund or Anirudh's fund. Why do angel investing? Take an LP route.
In fact, I'll just add to that since he's just saying, even when you have LPs and funds and you allow LPs to co-invest, even there in the best companies, we look at their value add. Yes. And even for co-invest to LPs and funds, it's always a two-sided marketplace, right? Both sides helping each other and both sides constantly adding value. Smart capital, like Anirudh is saying.
So let me give.
Alpesh has to make a point.
Yes, you can go.
Yeah, Alpesh, go ahead.
Can I, about 20 odd years ago,
By the way, you should get one more mic. We're like jostling two mics between three of us.
Passionate topic.
I'm willing to rent my mic to you at a suitable rate. When I was one of the co-founders of TIE London, and one of the things we started doing within that was not just mentoring the entrepreneurs, we were mentoring the angel investors because we realized the quality wasn't there, but there was potential because yes, they did have capital, but they could be improved by having mentoring from super angels, let's call them that way, the really good ones. And I think that's probably the opportunity. I mean, I don't want to reconcile both sides and kill the debate too early, but I think that's the opportunity which exists in India.
No,
because
that's
there's
what
a
British
lot of
do.
money.
That is what British do, divide.
Well, exactly, I'm doing a very un-British thing. Can I just make clear, if the color of my skin isn't clear enough, I'm Indian in this audience. The passport is British. But no, if I might do the very un-British thing and bring both sides together, it is that opportunity which I think exists in India, which given the speed, the massive speed with which people are getting money, and so they want to become angels, it's to train them up. And I wonder if there's platforms, probably TIE, who do that, because there's a focus, of course, amongst all these platforms of getting money to people and to the entrepreneurs here, but really, where's the platform to train up the angels and the massive opportunity that exists there?
So I have a point here. I think we are making two assumptions when we are talking about the number of angel investors, is that we are making the assumption that if a startup gets funded by a VC, the quality is better, right? And the quality of a company is a retrospective index, right? So it is not that at that point of time, the angel and the VC knows as much as each other if they are able to look at the deals, right? Because then the VCs will be giving so much more returns to their LPs than what angels are giving, and he's writing his own check, right? So that is the first one. And I think the second one
Shanti, here,
Yeah.
my point would be saying that VCs, this is their daily job. We
Yes.
eat, live, breathe this. For angels, this is like a passive. It's one portfolio.
No.
Nahi chala, theek hai.
No.
We make it work. We
But-
work with the company to
but-
make it happen.
But the point here is that the angel investor is writing his own check. The VC is managing somebody else's
Which
money.
is more risky.
So you are doing it as a profession, and I have the option to go buy a better car or buy a better house than to write a check to a startup. But I still choose to write a check to the startup because I want to help his dreams come true. Right? So I think the stakes for me as an angel investor is much higher than the stakes of a VC who has literally no downside.
So,
Vaibhav, I want,
I'll-
no,
Yeah,
let
because-
let's go. Now, I want to bring it in for a lot of the people in the audience. If you know what a general partner, GP in a VC fund is, the reason we're wearing jackets, but the reason we don't have money is because all your money is in the fund. And it's in multiple funds, right? So it's not as glamorous as it looks like, number one.
And for me at 100x, we don't have any LPs. It's all my money.
It's all. So that's one. So
you
there's
should
tremendous-
move to this side of the
there's-
table.
There's,
Yes.
there's tremendous skin in the
So,
game. No, just to finish. The other point that I think it's a very interesting shift we're seeing from the time we started in the Mumbai Angels and started Bloom, is at that time you were going to angel networks, right? Mumbai Angels, IN. And if you look at the founders that are starting today, many are either bootstrapping, there are 2x, 3x entrepreneurs, and they are sometimes just raising VC rounds or early stage rounds right off the bat. Or they're going to value-added, very, very selective angels or corporate CEOs and raising maybe 250, 300K, but then going directly to a VC. They're sometimes bypassing, let's say, platforms, right? So I think it's important this is a very dynamic industry. This is not the early stage ecosystem of 2011. Like when we started, we used to actually say that 500,000 was 5 million then. And today, if you look at it, I mean, the minimum starting round is almost 1 or 2 million off the bat, right? Some founders are just starting that. So you can't go to angels and raise 1 or 2 million. So they're raising a quick round and then going almost straight to the VC. They're leapfrogging that.
So just to bring in one more perspective before Sanjay sir asks me not
We've
to
got
rebut.
suddenly we've got 3 mics this side.
See versus yeah.
You all have mics.
Sanjay sir, I want to bring the
Cheating up.
perspective what
No, that's fine. So you go ahead.
yeah, I just want to bring in the perspective what Praveen Bhai was saying outside, and as a VC and as angels, we can have the perspective. Does number of people on the cap table and the way VCs look at them factor in from both the sides or not? Is it a subset of this question? Would you guys agree or disagree?
I would say that is actually a more procedural thing. The Indian ecosystem is evolving. Yes, there was a time when we would have like more than 50 investors on the cap table as angel investors. Times have evolved. As Shanti mentioned, there is a structure which has come in place when the government has also taken steps, looking at how big the angel industry is going to become, to form an angel fund structure, which gives you all the benefits of being an angel investor, picking and choosing the deals where you want to be, but at the same time also giving some comfort to the founder. Okay, you can take money from them because probably there will be just one investor on the cap table and there will be like a signatory who will manage the entire process. So
But
it's
you know,
more a
Anirudh,
procedural
that's
aspect.
procedural, right?
Yeah, so this is
My
something
issue
which has
is more
evolved already.
fundamental here.
Philosophical,
My
fundamental.
fundamental issue here is that when you do a mob mentality in a funding round, right? And this happens in some of the platforms where we have an app and a deal goes live and suddenly you have 600 people running after putting 2 to 3 lakh rupee checks. At the end of that, you suddenly have 50 unconnected people on a cap table. None of them is going to add any value add. And I'm generalizing a bit here, but 98% of the people that are on that cap table are not adding anything beyond the check that they write. And sometimes, and Vaibhav, you can attest as a founder, sometimes even that is a problem, getting those checks.
Let me answer those two questions.
Anuj, one more problem here is, it's not, I mean, okay, all entrepreneurs need money, all checks welcome.
Dumb
Every
capital
money
is
is
always
welcome.
important.
But the challenge here is, all these guys feels owners of that company. So founders are getting call from 60 guys, oh, what's happening? what's the update? How does it work?
That is depending on whom they are coming through. If there is a platform to manage that process, again, that's a procedural aspect which you are getting into, which has already been solved. This is something which used to happen in 2013-14 times. This has already evolved. Let me answer to the 2 points which Anirudh raised. Yes, herd mentality is there, but that is a function of any investment class which is being invested by any investor. When it is coming to public equity market, a lot of us are following people who are anchor investors, and we invest because they are investing and they must have, I'm sure a lot of us sitting out of here do that in the public equity market as well. So from a herd mentality perspective, I don't see that as a challenge, but that herd mentality could be when they are early, could be for the sectors which they don't understand, but they want to create a portfolio of angel investments. That evolves. So I'll give you an example. I had an investor who was investing just 2 lakh rupees across like 10 startups, and he liked a particular startup. He put 50 lakh rupees in that particular startup. So whether that person is sensible enough, which deal he'll be able to help, how he will be able to help, it's a process which will evolve.
Anuj,
all of us have learned that in the journey and have
coming to
come
Sanjay's
to
point.
this stage.
Yes, Sanjay.
No, so, just to add to that, I think again it comes back to the following or investing in with conviction. If you look at our own journey also as a VC, I think today founder, you either, it's about going all in, right? Either you're investing with conviction all in, you're not spraying and playing, right? Making, bets in terms of that. And I think, again, it's a little extreme point, but sometimes you look at these cap tables, you see 50 angels, and you don't know who any of these people are. The first time that person becomes famous or infamous is when he or she refuses to sign a document in the next round. So suddenly now you know who this person is. So again, I think, there are angels and there are angels, right? So this is not painting with a brush stroke, but I think, whether you say like fools rush in, too many people have got into the business. I think the emphasis is not on quantity, but on quality. Procedure is fine, but I think the best founders will always go to the best value-added angels, and similarly, the other.
So
Yeah, Vaibhav.
another point to make
just
here.
one after Shanti's point,
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
So just to add to that, right, like what I think this is a big myth that that if you go to a platform, your deal is being showcased to 1,000 people. SEBI Companies Act does not allow you to show it to 1,000 people. It restricts you to only 200 people. And the way the platform works is that we actually match it to people whose thesis is matching your startup, because as a founder, you should not be soliciting from more than 200 people. So as a platform, we ensure that we are protecting the founder, and we are only showcasing it to maybe like 100 people first, where the highest probability of commits is coming in, right? So in a way, you are even the followers are being bracketed into a
Shanti, one
into a
question.
thesis.
How much you would like one angel to put every year? How much money you will expect one angel to put in? 5 lakhs?
Typically about 20 to 25 lakhs is what they commit per year.
So the
right?
best option,
with
the way
us-
to look upon
with us
is,
is-
if you
with us-
become an
hold on.
LP to any fund, 2-3
No.
calls, 1 crore, it's done, and you got a fund manager managing it.
No, exactly. right?
Today, for
So that
example,
is-
in your syndicate, for example, in the syndicates what you build, there is a carry model. The same carry model works across for LPs in.
No,
Sanjay
but there's a
Fund.
management fee which I pay, right? There's a management fee which I pay to the fund, that is one. But I think beyond the fee, right, beyond the financial aspects, I think a lot of people, like on our platform, we have 4 different kind of investors, right? There is one entrepreneur turned investor. There is a global Indian. There is CXOs of organizations, right? And there is a second generation family business. Now, while they have the money, they do not want to go put it into a fund. They want to actually understand the asset class better. So they actually have an allocation for LP positions, and they have an allocation for direct investments, right? So there is a lot of people who want to directly engage with the asset class. And like I said, I think this myth about a lot of followers, though they may not understand the evaluation process of the startup very well, they still understand the asset class. So it's not purely like, completely dumb money.
Anuj, you allow even lesser, smaller tickets, right?
So when we started, our thought process has been very clear since day one. We want to democratize angel investment as an opportunity. Anyone, being a salaried person, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, he wants to do angel investment, he should be able to do angel investment. We have been to tier 2, tier 3 cities as deep as a Ranchi or a Dehradun or a Siliguri. There are a lot of people who want to put money, but there is no platform available where they can actually invest.
Anuj, would that do justice to founders?
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
Taking money
it
from
is.
those.
I'll
those
tell you
people
why. I'll tell
who
you
will
why.
not-
I'll give you the
who does
reason
not
why.
understand
Let me
this
give you
as
the
a class.
example. Let me give you a reason. We had a company, Matrix seed funded. They came to Venture Catalyst to raise a round. Why? They wanted market access through our angel investors. They did a say $500,000 round to us, where a lot of small checks came. Who were the people? This was a financial product which they were doing, and they wanted wealth managers to come on board. We were able to bring at least 20 wealth managers through our network from 20 cities to help their product. The checks were small, so the check size is not important how much equity they are putting. It's a very subjective thing.
This is
it's a very
anecdotal.
subjective
This
thing.
is anecdotal. It's not a fact which you
No,
can apply as a
so
stat.
that's why it's not a problem for a founder. He is ready to visit
So it's a
and
case to case.
interact.
Unique case.
It's
No,
a case to case.
So
Anuj.
Vaibhav, can
There
I-
are
can
10
I
such
say-
examples which will come.
That
That's
way.
what.
No.
Let's
that's what
define
we
the
are trying to
problem
do.
from the, see, we're trying to define the problem from the angle of the investor. We're talking about the angle of the founder, right? If a founder is giving up 15, 20% of his company, and if he wants only passive investors on board, right, then what's the value he gets besides the money? And that's been a key problem of this 50 people or 40 people raising
So
a 2 crore round.
Can I
Sure, sure.
ask a question to this side of the
Please.
audience? Right? So here is basically we are talking about the next 10 years belonging to Bharat, right? To actually companies which are solving problems for Bharat. Where is the investor who's sitting in tier 2 and tier 3 who understands the problem what the founder is solving today, right? And you are trying to invest in a company sitting in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, all the VCs, all the funds are sitting in all the bigger cities, right? And they are investing into companies based on market projections. But I don't think that you are evaluating based on what you're understanding.
What the question
But
is,
if you
Sandhya?
have investors in tier
Let me
2, tier 3 cities, coming
yes.
back to Anuj's point,
Yeah.
who's able to validate a Bharat problem, like because the guy wants access into a tier 3 city, and if you're able to bring an investor from a
Alpesh and
tier
Anil.
3 city and create access,
Provide. Yeah, Alpesh.
I actually don't
can I-
understand where the disconnect
Okay,
Can
happens.
I
We'll come to
extend
this
that
after
point a bit?
Alpesh.
I actually don't want you solving Bharat problems. I want you solving global problems. The panel before this, was Thai Global. Thai is about the world's problems. I know you agree
Sure.
with me, so I'm not having a go at you.
Debate's already over.
The reason I say
Alpesh,
this,
Alpesh, yeah.
So
We have to
again,
come
the
back to
Brit is
reason I
dividing.
say-
Alpesh, we have
Again,
to
the
come back to
British is
debate.
dividing.
We have to come back to debate. Sanjay.
You are the dean. By the way, I want to thank you and congratulate you. Also, you're not in Arnab mode. You're very, very cool. So it's,
I tried to. Sanjay sir did not
really-
let me be. I tried to.
Good. You tried to. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I tried.
So thank you. Thanks for that reconciliatory comment, bringing it back. But 2 points I wanted to bring, just weaving 2 points. You know, the first fund of Bloom One was actually set up as a VCF, venture capital fund. At that time, minimum you could take is 25 lakhs from a LP. And then SEBI and the bodies actually changed and moved to AIF because there were lots of, I wouldn't say wrong, but retail investors were getting it with very incorrect expectations and asking fund managers and startups, you know, where's my cash return? You know, is this like venture debt? They didn't understand it. So there was a reason why AIF was created, number one, very important to understand. The second point is if you look at, you know, funds like Avishkar and, you know, like impact and rural funds. I know, you know, their MDs and the team sit in the major metros, but they're out in the field all the time. I mean, our offices in Baikala and Bombay, Ankur Capital sits in our compound. They're on the road all the time. So it's not necessarily true that, you know, the VCs are not out there. They are doing a lot of field work and getting out there.
Sanjay, you were making a point.
So I would just like to highlight one more point. We have been delving upon the value which an angel investor is bringing on the table, and whether good founders will take dumb capital or not. In fact, we would want to back founders who understand their business, who know how to make their way out, and they want capital from us. That is the first point. If a founder does not know how to run the business and what support, we just want to be enablers. An angel investor should be an enabler to the particular
Only
aspect. We
financial-
cannot interfere in the
you
business.
are
We can
contradicting
just be an
yourself.
advisor. I'm
Anuj,
not talking
you are
on behalf of
contradicting
DCAT.
yourself. You
No,
are
no, no.
contradicting yourself. You want, first you said, I just need money. Then you said angels are enablers. So both the things can't work across. If
So
it is a passive,
it's a function of
it's
both.
a passive
but
money.
you're
but
not-
you
you're
need
not the lead on
80% dumb capital in a deal where you are, Anirudh, you rightly mentioned. See, India, the liquidity market for
This is
this
like watching
asset class-
NDTV. And I watch it at home and I turn the volume
The
down.
liquidity is going to be created when more and more people are going to come into the ecosystem. And how is that going to happen? Only if the people from the grassroots are going to come up and start putting the capital. Where are they going to start from? Through angel investment. Do you expect anyone to come and
I'm
write a
not
1 crore
debating-
check?
we are not
immediately?
debating whether angel investing is good or bad. What we are debating is number of, so the motion.
Yep.
What
So-
statement is
so-
number of angel investors in India? Are there enough who can create deals? No, there are not enough angel
Create
investors
deals.
who can create. That's what is an number of angel investors who can create deals. Otherwise, why would VCs like Sequoia start Surge or Kalari start K-Star or Lightspeed start across Lightning
it's
Network?
a deal funnel associated with
Because
them.
there are not enough angels who are leading deals.
Shanti,
There
want
is
to counter
not
that?
enough angels.
And to your point, Anuj,
Yeah,
Anuj
yeah.
and Shanti,
I-
guys,
Shanti, want to counter?
both of you, see what's happening is we're defining the problem as if Anuj and Shanti are leading every deal. If Anuj and Shanti were leading a deal, I would be investing, right? But the problem is when you're looking at a Let's Venture or let's say a venture catalyst which is doing 2 deals a month, Anuj cannot be the lead for every deal, right? And they're going to have different leads. And is the quality of those leads, the guy writing that largest check, is that good enough to create a deal
So just
that
to,
we're talking about?
Yeah, so just
right? And
to
that's
counter,
the real crux
so
of the problem.
Just to counter this based on data, right? We do 4 to 6 deals a month. Out of our 197 startups, 64 startups have gone to raise the next round from a VC, from a Sequoia, Matrix. Who you think are the good people who
Why
can
would
evaluate
Sequoia then
deals?
open up Surge? Idea here is there are
It's
not
just
enough great
funnel-
investors.
funnel
There
for
are not
their
enough
platform.
No, no,
lead
so
investors, lead angels who are trying to build
No,
deals.
so Sequoia going downstream has no reflection
Yes.
on the
Okay.
quality of the ecosystem.
Yes.
Okay, guys, we have to.
Sequoia going downstream has a quality that my angel investors are now taking away deals which I'm not getting
Exactly
access
that is
to.
what is happening.
So I have
Exactly that is what is happening.
it has, I mean, what they do has no reflection on us.
Yes.
Okay, okay, I think we have to cut it short.
you
I
have
think
to be
we have
Yes,
to
sir.
buy.
In fact, they want to come and partner with us.
Guys,
That's the deal
Anuj-
where you are putting money, we want to put
Anuj,
money as a co-investor.
Anuj, one closing argument and then we'll wrap it off. One closing argument.
Can I say what
please.
my fellow Indians you should do is follow in the footsteps of Narendra Murthy, Ratan Tata, Anand Mahendra, go global by having a base in the United Kingdom.
Alpesh is on a different track here, but yeah, we'll do that. First focus on India.
So,
One closing argument, Anuj.
again, I think the motion will be passed by the audience, but I'm still, and I'm hopeful that the colleagues on the other side are also going to agree to us that there is more and much more to be built in India in the next decade, and that's going to happen through angel investors. And quality is a very subjective term in the minds of the people. I am more than sure there are enough angel investors. If a founder is able to pitch the right idea in the right manner, he will get money. Money is not a problem.
Sanjay, you want to do the closing argument? The side.
So Anuj rightly said across saying that, there is more to be done. So there is less right now. So we don't have enough angel investors which are there. So we hope that more and more angels participate on their platform, and we have enough angel investors in India. Today we don't have enough, and that's what my closing statement would be.
So
That's why your
Anuj,
deals
Anuj,
are
Anuj,
coming
Anuj,
to angel
Anuj.
investors only to do the next round.
So ideally, we are not allowed to introduce questions, but Sanjay also requested one question we can take from audience. Only one question. Hi, anyone? Yeah, please go ahead. Sure.
Thank goodness for all of you guys. It's really wonderful having all of you. But I'm a little confused about angel investment right now. It sounds more like crowd investment versus angel funding. It sounds a lot like crowd investment than
Let
India
Shanti
does
answer
not-
and then this
But
side answer.
So India does
just one
not
second,
al-
just
yeah.
one second.
Yeah.
And what about if today Bank of Baroda gives me a 2 crore collateral-free loan? Wouldn't that sound more? If I have to clean up a cap table at 20%, that really worries me.
Okay, there are two
Yes.
questions. We'll just close them. Shanti, you answer them and
Yes.
then
So
we'll go this
one
side.
is that Let's Venture and Venture Catalyst, I think, are not equity crowdfunding platforms.
Okay.
There is no crowdfunding regulation in India.
Yeah.
We are a closed, managed marketplace. We just use technology to ensure that we are opening up the information to a lot more people who today are not elitist and don't have privileged access. Right? That is first. Second, coming back to your collateral-free loan, as an investor and as a founder of a marketplace, I always tell my founders, if you can get customer money, if you can raise money without giving away equity, first do that. Raising money on equity should be always your second option.
Sanjay.
Because equity is always more expensive than
Anirudh.
And debt has to be
customer money.
repaid.
Anirudh.
Yes.
See, the important part here is that when you raise money, well, they're not equity crowdfunding platforms. When you raise money from 50 people, all of which may have different objectives of why they are in the investment. Someone may be looking for 3x, someone's in there for 10x, someone's in there for 5 years, 10 years. Trying to manage all those expectations, whether they come as single check, whether they come as a single name, is difficult. And I think at the early stages for a company, it makes better sense to work with a select group of people that are all aligned in the same place, typically like a fund, right? And that's why, according to me, again, let's count the numbers, right? I think in
Select
India, if we
group of people is an angel
No, no,
network.
Let's not start again. Let's not start
Let
again.
him
Quickly.
finish.
in the numbers, there's about 6,000 angel investors, maybe 10,000. You compare that to the US, 150,000 angel investors, right? So obviously there is a lack. But what we're trying to say, and what we are again and again saying, is there is a lack of also quality angels in the ecosystem.
And angel investing, the way it has been told to investor, it's not a wealth product, right? You have to invest time. Angel investing, you have to work with founders. It's not a wealth product. You cannot predict an outcome. So the selling of being a wealth product is not there with angel investing.
And I'll just add one last
I
point.
think we have to end
just one point to add. In the US, to become an angel investor, you have to be accredited, right?
Accredited.
Which means you have to show $1 million liquid cash wealth. Let's say we just say that all the 5,000, 10,000 angels we're talking about in India, we set a minimum criteria of 2 crore net worth. How many of them would still remain? And
All-
that's where the rubber meets the road, right? When they don't have that much liquidity available, there's not
Anirudh, I
gonna
would
follow on.
want to end on that note. Achha, we can take one more question. Okay, we have more time suddenly. Okay, so
I just want to,
Sanjay bhai, every fund, the LP is coming through a wealth distribution platform only.
So one last question, guys. Hi. Oh, he's shouting very loud. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, go ahead. We
so
can listen
just
to you.
one question back to the founders. Imagine your life without angel investors and only 10 VC funds in the country. And imagine your negotiation power there if you don't have any other option, right? So you have.
So
then-
we want more angels. Idea here is, today it is not, the statement today is, what
Are
Vaibhav
there enough
started,
angel
are we
investors in
having
India?
enough angel investors?
No, no,
Today we
take the
don't.
audience
That's
poll
why
now.
people
That's what I'm saying.
are
I think
struggling to
Vaibhav-
raise money.
One-
If there were enough angels, we would have, all of them would have got funded. I
One-
wouldn't, at 100x, I wouldn't have got 1982 application in 3 months. There are people who want money and angels are not writing checks.
No, no, no.
There are not enough angels.
Should be
That is
50
because
access.
Yeah, it is.
Hi. We have one question. Go ahead.
Hi,
Go ahead.
I'm Jatin. I'm co-founder of Jetsons Robotics. So you mentioned that there are less than 100 investors that have invested in more than 20 companies. Even that number is even if it's 1,000. And as an analogy, if I compare an angel investor and a startup founder relationship as a shepherd and sheep, so shepherds, if they are not well trained, so they cannot take the sheep out and nurture the way that the sheep should be fed and everything. So I think it's a
What is the question? Is there a question?
so
बोलना क्या चाहते हो भाई?
Is there a
बोलना क्या
question?
चाहते हो?
so it's
We have to take one
alarming.
more-
It's alarming. It's alarming in a sense that getting more quality angel investor in the country will definitely like make
Opinion
more
है,
successful
suggestion है, क्या
startups.
है? Opinion है, suggestion है, क्या है? Question है.
Concern है.
Concern बाद में address करेंगे. एक
So,
question
so
और है.
if you are an
We'll have to cut short the
angel,
question
if you are looking out for an
They will not
first
let us.
check, try to apply to 100x. We are doing 100 deals every year. First check. Try to apply to 100x.
One minute,
I think-
just 10 seconds. I just want to summarize what question you were asking, right? I think one of the things we tend to over dissect this a lot. One, if you looked at the unicorn panel with Ashish and with Harsh, one of the things is that when the founder is starting up, does he know where he's going all the way, and does he have enough capital to run a marathon, not just a sprint, right? It's a 400 meter, not just the 100. And where a VC or an organized angel or a VC comes in, is not just about getting the first 50 lakhs to 1 crore. Do you know if that's enough to get you to the next milestone? So the bigger danger is if you raise from a passive, let's say a passive angel group or not a very organized angel group, and you've raised only 1 crore, it's neither you're nor there, because after that, if your cap table is messed up, nobody will touch you, and you've also diluted too much. So I think it's very important for entrepreneurs to really, when you think like you're running a marathon.
Sanjay,
to
on that
plan.
note, I have to stop you, sorry. So quickly, the question was, are there enough angel investors in India? The slide said yes, they said no, and audience said no initially. So if we do the show of hands again. Yeah, so you said no, there are not enough, you want more.
Not enough quality angels.
Okay, so we cannot modify the question after a debate. We can do that earlier on.
But that's what is common, right?
So are there enough angel investors in India, and if people who agree?
So my hand's just gone.
No. So still okay. So I think the motion which audience say there are not enough angel investors in India, which was initially also the take. So yeah, kind of you guys win the debate. I don't want to say win. Sounds college and school, but yeah.
What's the prize for winning the debate?
Prize,
So-
I think Ty is giving away the prizes. Please bring away the
wh-
prizes.
while we are on this side as a debate, let me tell you, I am personally investor into Let's Venture as a platform. So please apply over there to raise the next round.
And we are investors in Venture Catalyst. So let's.
Thank you guys. I think time is up now officially. Thank you guys. You have been a great audience. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'd like to invite Harish Mehta
It was a win-win.
along with Mr. Nayan Patel to felicitate our speakers, and that was a power-packed debate. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for the great Indian investor debate? Yeah, I'm calling the next one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next session, which I am so euphoric about. How many of you have seen this Netflix web series called, yeah, can you tell me the web series name? Wild Wild? That's right. And the female that I am speaking about, I'm going to introduce her. But before that, let me introduce on stage, ladies and gentlemen, the personality who's going to interview her. She is an award-winning actress,